right, I'm Myron Metcalf with the Marion Key Book Club, joined by Shannon Gibney. And here we are, sort of reflecting on our panel, which was Thursday, November 3rd, Parable of the Sower, Octavia Butler. We had Shannon, we had Janae Bates, Maya Washington down at Central Library in like a really amazing event. Let me first say thank you, and thank you to Janae and to Maya. What was so amazing to me with the conversation was that, for people who may not have known, that was the first time you three had ever like met in person. Right. And then to put you on a stage together to have this really thoughtful, incredible conversation about Octavia's work. It was, to be listening to it, it was like, wow, we could have kept doing that for 3, 4, 5 hours. So thank you. How did you feel about the conversation as the moderator, kind of guiding that conversation?
It was magical. I mean, that's really the adjective that really came to mind. I felt like artists and others talk about, when you're in the moment of something. And so, usually our brain is over here thinking about dinner, thinking about that, but like it's called in the flow. I felt like we were just all in the flow, present there, and with the audience too, because you all were also, giving energy and responding. And so it was just like such a beautiful evening, and I don't know Janae, or I should say before, because now I feel like I do. I didn't know Janae and I didn't know Maya, and they're such brilliant women. And then on top of that, you can really feel their hearts too. I mean, there's some people who are brilliant, but they don't really have that kind of warmth and generosity. I just think they're both like really generous people. And so like in terms of giving other people space and allowing for the things that we don't know. I do talk to very smart people sometimes, and not all of them, let's put it that way, give space for the things that they don't know. So it was just a wonderful evening. And, due to the pandemic and everything, a lot of the events that I've been doing have been virtual. And so it was just so great to be together physically, because that is just a completely different vibe as well. So, so I just want to thank you too. And everyone who also, I know folks have also been going online and watching it as well. A bunch of my friends were watching it too. And so I want to thank the Marion Key Book Club and everybody at Hennepin County Library, and also you, Myron, for bringing us together. It was a beautiful evening. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Now, Hennepin County Library, that's why I brought everybody up on stage, because it's been a team effort just to get this all organized. And, you just never know like how it's all going to work. We've been a part of a couple panels now, so right. It's been a learning experiment for me to kind of understand, okay, who are the right personalities, the right kind of people. And it felt like when I was sitting there watching, I was like, wow, this is the right everything for this conversation. I think the most impactful thing for me, like in the whole night, was so many people told me this book is a hard read, right? And I get that. I mean, I couldn't just breeze through this book. I definitely had some moments where I had to kind of step aside and do something else, have an ice cream cone or something, like think about brighter days. But realistic. And to me, the most impactful part of the night was, here you have Lauren in this chaotic world, trying to figure out how to survive, how to move forward. And then you had 3 Black women responding to, I think it was the question about what you would put in your go bag. And like, and all of you had very like realistic responses to that. And for me, and here's what I realized, like, there are so many things that I certainly think about as a Black person that just come with this sort of perpetual vulnerability and this sort of perpetual sense of anything can happen at any moment, right?
Yeah.
But there's another dynamic that I'll never understand as a Black woman, that other layer of vulnerability. And like, I think people in the audience sort of heard some of that and were like, wow. But it's similar in so many ways to what Lauren was thinking and going, I got to get through this and I got to know exactly how I'm going to navigate this. What was it like having this conversation about this book and being able to have these relatable experiences and moments with two other Black women sitting next to you on that panel?
I mean, for me also too, honestly, my relationship with Octavia Butler started in my 20s,
Mm,
and I was fortunate to meet her when she came here maybe 15 years ago, and that was amazing. But it's mostly just been kind of a solitary relationship with her work, and that's not abnormal for readers and scholars and whatnot, um but for me, I mean, I love, obviously, the act of reading is solitary, but it's so powerful when you can actually um parse through things with other people meaningfully, who maybe have similar identities or experiences and questions. Like, it just creates another layer of connection.
mm,
Is just really, really powerful. And so, yeah, there are like moments like that bag moment, like what would you put in your bag if you were like,
yeah.
if you had a bag for what if, like the end of the world is coming, and yeah, we all had oh, it's not a what if, like I actually have a
Yeah.
bag, like I have like this and that, I have plans with my friends, like I have like whatever. Um and so yeah, it just makes you feel not crazy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sort of like, okay, this is actually, because I think that's what all these isms do, right? Like racism, sexism, homophobia, classism, folks who don't like to deal with folks on gender spectrum,
Mhm.
etc. Like all that stuff, like it just it's actually structural problems. It's actually structural violence, but it's designed to make you feel like it's your problem
Mhm.
individually and you're crazy. And so that's the beauty of community, is that then when you parse through stuff like that and you talk to other people about it, you're like, oh, no, this is actually, and even if you know it in your brain, you have to be reminded because we forget. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful statement because I think people forget like how isolating the Black experience can be. Like even if you have that sense of community, even if you have, white friends or community members or family members who are, understanding and empathetic, um, it still can be a very like, this is only me kind of seeing the world this way. So it was so cool for me to see you three centering your experience as it relates to the book and having a conversation that was about how you felt, how you feel, how you've experienced the world. And that was just a really, really powerful thing. Last question. What do you, I mean, people who read the book, like, what do you think they should take away from this moving forward, like in their lives? Or, I mean, the question I had too was like, is it incomplete? Like, do you have to read more of Octavia Butler to be able to answer that question?
I mean, I think that's the beauty of good literature, right? Is like I feel like you should be able to enter and exit wherever you need to, and it might change at different points in your life, somebody like me, you know, a nerd of color, a Black nerd, I was like hungry for, sometimes it's sort of like there's certain texts, or, I'm also a huge consumer, like everyone else, of like peak TV and, movies and whatever. There's certain things that you see, like when I saw Black Panther with my kids, right? Or, when I read, Notebook of a Return to a Native Land, and there's certain things that you read or you see, and you're just sort of, it's like this weird sense of familiarity, like it was written to you, like
Mm,
it was made for you, right? And you're like, oh my god, I've been missing this, And so if you have that kind of feeling, which is the kind of feeling that I had when I first encountered Octavia Butler, I had to read her entire bibliography after that,
yeah.
because I was just like, oh, it's like a hunger, right? Like of
Yeah.
recognition, right? But not everybody's going to have that. Different people are going to have different kinds of experiences with different texts. I do think a lot of people, when they read Octavia Butler, are like, whoa, I've never really encountered something like this. This is
Yeah,
really interesting. And then they do want to read more, but it is, as you say, like you have to take it in bits because it's very dense. Like in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of I mean, it's not a happy view of humanity that she put forth, and actually when I was telling people this first parable book in the parable series, I think is one of her more like, I mean, uplifting texts, right? So I mean,
Mm,
you kind of just have to know that that's kind of what you're getting with her. But I would really if you like parable, I would go on to the next one, parable of the talents.
mm,
Also really engaging, and I think a great holiday read as we get into the holidays. Um, Not your traditional one, but I'm one of the people that likes Die Hard versus the
Christmas
normal
Story. Yeah,
Christmas story, right?
yeah.
Exactly. So if you're one of those, you might like that. And then I always recommend Blood Child and Other Stories, her short story collection, because that one obviously is short stories. So it's really nice. You can read one or part of one, set it down, come back to it. And that really, I think, showcases also a wide range of her work too. Plus, you can read the title story. Blood Child is her. She
Mm,
always called that her pregnant man story.
wow.
And I'll kind of leave that there, for people to, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then yeah, so lots of ways in. That's one of the many reasons why we love Octavia. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely hungry to read more for sure, and just learn more about her work and who she was. Thank you again for that wonderful panel. Thank you all for who attended, who watched, who participated. We will announce our fifth book soon, but thank you all again for the support.
Thank you. Have a great holidays, everyone.